style, and this is actually quite good because I had coffee earlier and I'm sick to try, so I'm really excited and my heart's jittering. And I ran up the stairs 6 floors up, so I'm really tired. That's fine. Okay. Everyone get up, please. Get up, stretch your legs for 30 seconds, and then we'll get back into it, alright?
So, guys, put it this way, if the man has no sleep and he can still give a presentation, you guys can stay awake for 40 minutes.
Solid.
In a way, I did it deliberately, just to simulate the fact that, I'm nervous and tired, and this is how you all should be when you're giving presentations.
Feel that? Yeah. One more?
No, thanks.
I'll tell you in a second.
Are you recording?
Huh?
Are you recording?
Just like oh yeah, sure.
For the interns, by the interns for their APLs and project and function leaders. So anyone in a leadership position, you will be your performance will be assessed by your members/interns in a 360 review. It will be conducted online and anonymously. You will find a Google Form doc on the Facebook or through email, and just basically in week 10, fill it out. It's very quick, very simple, and this is for the professional development of your leaders who are in charge of your team. So help them become better leaders. It's up to you. And if you feel like you have anything to praise them on or any constructive criticism, please do so in a very honest fashion. Only HR will know the identities of these responses. So, I came here today, the communication topic, because I think that it is a fundamentally important skill that we all need to have, whether we're leaders, whether we're teachers, whether we're students. And it's something that, I think if you guys have pens and papers, it's something you can write down as we go. Fantastic, thank you. Now, like I said, I did take a shot of coffee or two, a lot of coffee, because I really wanted to simulate what it's like to be nervous, because I'm normally not usually nervous. So right now I'm suffering from the physical effects of nervousness, which is heart palpitations, breathlessness, and obviously the propensity to shit myself in the middle of this presentation. so who's ever been in that position? Hands up.
Every day.
Fantastic. So you all have done presentations, especially the MVPs, the people who have come up here, people who do group assignments. You've sat up here and you've done presentations. Hi, my name is Terrence, and this is my group assignment. And you've all had that feeling. Fantastic. You all know what I'm feeling. I know what you felt. So we're going to skip a communication activity right now because I like to go into two different things. 3 points about communication and 3 rules of PowerPoint. So what I've done is make things very simple for you all. Fantastic. Now I'd like to tell you a story. Today I woke up, I took a shower, a really good shower. I did my hair really well. I dressed to the nines, my fantastic casual Fridays, and I clipped my fingernails and put some cologne on, and then I realized that I'm getting ready for a date, right? And the date in particular is with you, right? Because I prepared my lines. I prepared some sort of icebreaker, which we didn't get to, just to break the ice. And of course, I had the jittery, nervous butterflies in my stomach feeling because I'm about to meet you, and I'm very nervous. But of course, the ultimate aim is that I want to impress you. I want to impress you. I'm not just here to present to you, not just here to condense information and pass it into your brains, but I'm here to trigger some sort of emotional connection with you. And this is what presentation is in terms of communication. It's not just the transferring of information from one person to another, but it's about making that connection that goes beyond text and goes into the heart of things. So keep that in mind, that effective communication is like going on a first date. So 3 points of communication. The idea of communication is that, like a first date, your aim is to impress the person you're going out with. So Henry, we're on a date right now. And I'm trying
Nice leg.
I'm trying my best to be aware of what I'm trying to say, how I dress, how I look. And this is what you do with an audience. You're very self-conscious about who you are and how people are perceiving you. So right now, I'm very egocentric. I'm like, does she like me? Or does he like me? No, that's what So the idea is, my aim is to impress you by thinking about myself. How can I be more confident and more masculine in front of you all? And so that you'll like me, isn't it? Isn't that the idea of presentations? You're very self-centric. You're very selfish in a way. Egocentric, and that's fine. That's something that people go through all the time. They're worrying about themselves. But here's a key thing. An effective presenter stops thinking about him or herself. They start thinking about the audience. All right. So 3 rules before I get into 3 points. 3 rules to prepare for a presentation. Number 1 is dress. Now, I'm not talking about this dress. I'm talking about the dress, the image that you put up. Now, Coco Chanel said that dress every day as though you'll meet the love of your life. Right?
Chanel.
Exactly. So it's the kind of presentation that you bring up here, the image that you present as if you are meeting the love of your life. So when I'm meeting strangers, when you're meeting strangers, think about that. In that audience is someone who's very special to you, and you want to be as fantastically as possible. Number 2, offering. So offering is basically what are you providing to people? Are you giving them a sales pitch? Are you giving them information? Are you trying to convince them of something? Are you trying to reach into their hearts and make them do something? So offering is what you can offer them. And it's something that you need to consider because not everybody wants what you're offering. So that requires you to do number 3. Know your audience. Now, if you go on a date with someone, you like to think that you know a bit about that person, which is why you attracted them, which is why you asked them out or you agreed to go with them. On a first date, maybe you might Facebook stalk them. Maybe you might ask friends about them, right? To get to know your audience, because at the end of the day, if you don't connect on a level that's more than intimate or friends, it's not going to work. You have to speak their language. You have to know their values. You all watched the video today, didn't you? About communication.
Yeah.
3 types of people. Name them. Beer, doer, and dreamer. Now, the activity asked you to think about yourself, didn't it? Are you a dreamer, doer, or beer? Jorge, who are you? Doer. Joseph? Combination? Okay, so there's combinations. Who is who thinks they're a doer? Hands up. And you all know the difference, right? Doers are active people. They actually do things and they get out there, physical activity. Dreamers. Any dreamers? Be honest. Nothing wrong with dreamers. Without dreams, you can't do anything. Without dreams, you're lost. You're stuck in the present. So dreamers are those who look forward to things, who think about the future and what can be achieved. Who's a beer? Anybody know what a beer is? Who can define that for me? Now, beers are those who are concerned with relationships. All right, they want to be the person that people can rely on, people can depend on, trust. So beers are relationships, dreamers about ideas, and doers about actions. Those 3 things. So you want to go back to that. So when we talk about communication, don't think about yourself as a beer, doer, dreamer. Think about others. Am I speaking to doers, dreamers, or beers? A combination. So what you got to do when you're offering is offer them what they want. So if you're a dreamer, I'm going to talk to you about hopes and dreams and aspirations and what you want to do a year from now. If you're a doer, we're going to start talking about action. What we're going to do. Let's make a plan. Let's do it. Let's get out there. If you're a beer, let's talk about relationships. Let's talk about how we can build communication, how we can develop trust in the team, and so on. So stop being self-centered and start being selfless by considering others, and that's the key to effective communication. Effective communication is a skill that has toppled governments, conquered empires, and even saved the world from destruction many times, literally. If you look at your Cold War history. The simple radio signal that was not transferred over from Kremlin to Washington, D.C. could have annihilated the planet Earth. Anyway, communication is more than just sending information, it's about receiving it effectively, which is why you got to think of others and how they open their channels and how your channel has to be synchronized with theirs. So if they're dreamers, speak like a dreamer. If they're doers, speak like a doer. Now, I talked about first dates. If anyone can tell me, what is one major problem that girls often say about their male partners on a first date? Wayne?
Come on, guys. Normally on the.
Wayne, go please.
Because at the first date, the guy tends to advertise himself too much instead of focusing on the girl.
Thank you. Too much talking. Well done. Yeah, bro. On the first day, a guy is so self-conscious about how he looks, what he wants to do. Remember, he's trying to impress a girl, so he's going to talk himself up. He's going to put himself in a positive light. So he's going to advertise himself. But that's not the point. He's trying to impress the girl when he should be impressed by the girl. Right? Isn't that right? So what we have is a guy who's talking too much and a girl who's not even getting a word in. Now I'm being very gendered here, but you guys can understand the scenario. In a business situation, in a professional relationship, if you're negotiating and you're dominating the conversation, you're not being an effective communicator. There will not be effective communication. So here's the rule. 40-60. 40% listening, 60% listening, 40% talking. And this is relative to the situation, of course. Now, if you're the one presenting, obviously it's going to change. But if it's a normal conversation, a normal business negotiation, consider that that person might actually have something to say that you can learn from, that you can actually create an impression by being an active listener. How to be, before I go into that, 40-60 rule is also known as shut up and listen rule. Is that point where you can tell yourself, I need to actively, consciously shut up and listen and see what plays out. And that's an advantage for you because, let's say your partner or your political opponent, in fact, might say something that slips up. And guess what? You've got that advantage. You can respond back early. And of course, the success of effective communications may be a second date or a successful business merger. All right. So what are the rules to effective communication in this 40-60 scenario? I call it RASA. Now, RASA basically means receive the information. All right. Thoughtfully, quietly, listen. The next is appreciate, whether that's nodding or smiling or saying I see. That's appreciating the information that you're receiving. It's acknowledging that you are exchanging this communication. Now, of course, you can summarize. Summarize basically, what thing you're trying to say is, or I see what you mean. This is blah blah blah. Summarizing is an effective way to confirm that you have received the information. If not, then they may correct you. And of course, ask questions. That's the best way of informing the person that you understand, or maybe you like to find more information. And generally, generally most conversations happen like this. You think about it. Most general conversations happen like this. Most business conversations happen like this. And it's an exchange and a turn-taking scenario. So, point 2. I'm shifting over to the second point. Communication can be 3 things: a performance, a presentation, and a conversation. Now, you may exhibit all these 3 things in a single minute, like I hopefully just did. I was talking to some of you, I was presenting to you, and I was obviously performing at the beginning. Not really performing. First thing about performance is that it's communication act, right? If I'm performing like a Shakespeare play, to be or not to be, or Romeo and Juliet, it is me performing at you, and there's no engagement. I'm not necessarily looking at you. You're taking information from me. So this is not a negative thing, not a super positive thing. It's specific to like plays or drama performances, or even a presentation. But presentation is different. Performance act is a very hard way to make communication happen. It's a hard way to build relationships because it's only one-sided. Presentations is very common. You all have done this before. I'm doing this right now. I'm condensing information to you in a very logical manner so that you can receive it and take it and absorb it. Now, this may not necessarily be the best thing. You know lectures. You've been in lectures where it's completely dry, no matter how interesting the topic is. All right? You got a lecturer who just monotonously talks at you, not to you. So there's a difference. A presentation actually engages with the audience on a microscopic and a macroscopic level. From the physical aspect of looking at you to the words that I'm speaking that you're listening to. So presentations are good, but they're limited, which is why the next kind of communication is what you're familiar with, a conversation with another person. So remember, performance is act, presentation is to, conversation with. It's a mutually beneficial, mutually stable sort of relationship where both parties are on equal footing. It's very neutral. The transmission of information is neutrally conveyed. And conversations are fantastic because you develop trust, you develop empathy, and you convey that sort of information in a less robotic, mechanical sort of way. So think about the fact that in your daily conversations, your daily communications with people, you exhibit these 3 things. Can anyone share an example of a performance that they've done recently? Like a dramatic performance maybe. Who's in a drama club or something? Anyone?
Who does a bit of home drama?
David? What's David?
All the girls, man.
Damn, I was waiting for David's answer. Anyway, moving on. Number 3, speak from the heart to heart. Now this is where we get all feely, good feely, and all that little gooey stuff. All right. Speak from the heart to heart. Now think about it. When we communicate, we're not logical machines and robots who type messages and send it across the internet. That's what they call impersonal communication. When we meet face to face, when we're actually connecting with that person on a physical level, it's not logic that we use our words. It's actually emotions. We speak emotionally more than we do logically. Think about it. Now, when we speak from heart to heart, I'll give you some scenarios. I'll give you some historical and contemporary examples. This is an image of Barack Obama during his campaign, and it is obviously in the rain. So this is a guy who doesn't care about the weather to stop him from getting the votes. Is it about the votes? No, he claimed a message. He proclaimed a message that yes, we can. America is just suffering from the deficits of global financial crisis and the 2 wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. We are at the lowest point of education, economy, and obviously public discourse is very effective. People are unhappy. But can we rise from this situation? Can we transcend this adversity? Can we become America the Great again? Can we achieve the American dream for every young man, woman, and child, and everyone else? Yes, we can. So this is the slogan that he produced to the nation, and this is a slogan that inspired hope, inspired great aspirations, inspired people, a nation which was wary with global politics and government corruption, and he inspired them that yes, we can. So this is a man speaking from the heart into your hearts. Then again, it's not that simple. He did exactly the same thing. I'm not comparing this man with that man, but I'm saying that when you are speaking from the heart to heart, you are going to reach out to them and change people's minds. It's very persuasive. Steve Jobs, the aesthetic, the quality has to be carried all the way through. And this is his life's mission, to create a product or series of products that was unbeatable in terms of quality. I know some of you may know that in terms of building one of the iPhones or something, China was producing the chips. It was low quality. It said, scrap that. Let's go to Taiwan, high quality. I don't care how much we lose money. We got to do this because we owe the public a great service, a great product. Does anyone own an iPhone here? Why do you own an iPhone? Do you use friendly?
It's the most user-friendly for idiots, like Luddite idiots, who are not really good at tech.
Now, just to bring it back, instead of going to debate about phones, Steve Jobs told you why you need the iPhone. He didn't go around selling the benefits of the iPhone. He didn't go around proclaiming the functions and features of the iPhone. He told you this is what you need. It's new, it's fantastic. That's it, from the heart. He made people line up for days in the cold and rain and camps to line up for an iPhone 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and a 4S, 5. Exactly. Why do people still do that? Because they believe in the brand, they believe in the quality, and that's what Steve Jobs has done, left a legacy which encourages people to buy from the heart, not from the brain. If you've got a logical system going on, you're not going to buy a single iPhone, knowing the history of it. But you're going to buy from the heart because that's good. Anything you buy is an emotional response to things. I have a dream that one day this nation will live up and rise up to its creed. Every man is born free. I have a dream that my 4 little children will live in a nation where they are not judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. Think of these words that this man has said, and it's inspired a whole generation of revolution, social change. All right, just from a dream. So those people who criticize dreamers for being airy-fairy druggies, they've got a dream, but they're also going to do something about it. So this is a man who spoke from the heart to the heart of the people, heart of the nation, in fact. Okay, so that's the 3 points. Effective listening, 40-60 rule. Shut up and listen. Number 2, performance, presentation, conversation. It's the variety of communication styles you can shift really easily to make a difference. Speak from the heart to heart. Why? Because you generate empathy, and the best way to communicate something is by getting people to think like you, to feel like you, and that's what empathy is. Now, here's the next point. A PowerPoint is not the presentation. So, which is why I don't like when someone says, I'm going to give a PowerPoint presentation, because that assumes that the PowerPoint is the presentation when it's not. Separate those things. No. Okay?
The end of it.
If there is a technical glitch for any reason, you do not have a PowerPoint, what are you going to do?
Keep talking.
You're going to keep talking. What you're going to do is you're going to present like you should, isn't it? PowerPoints are visual aids. They're meant to help people process memory, process what you're saying. It's not a replacement, it's a supplement. 3 rules of PowerPoint, for those of you who have demanded something, how do I make PowerPoints simpler? To be honest with you, this took a while. But if you follow these rules, your PowerPoints will be simple and easy to make. Number 1, less text, more images. Basically, anybody can stand up here and give a presentation, like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. Can anyone see the difference?
Yeah.
Say it. Try it out. What's the difference?
Steve Jobs doesn't have anything as much as Bill Gates.
Exactly.
Crazy.
That's what distinguishes this man as a presenter from this man, richest man in the world. He's selling you all the benefits and features and fantastic trivia about the Microsoft digital lifestyle. And this guy is just telling you one thing at a time, one thing at a time. One image, one word, one phrase, and that's it. And he's the one presenting it as you go. So, people tend to put every word they're going to say on their PowerPoint slides. Although this makes it easy to present without palm cards, this makes your slides crowded, wordy, and boring. You will lose the attention of your audience before you even reach the bottom of your slide. If you're going to go on reading off the slides, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're useless. Do you think that you read the entire thing faster than I could speak? Reading versus listening. People read faster than they hear. People read 275 words a minute. People listen to 150 words a minute. People will finish reading their slides before you can say them. Who just beat me there? Good. Now, how can I make this a little more easy to read? How can I make this more presentable? Simple. Convert it into infographic. Convert it into bare, minimal essentials. Like this. 275 words that you read, 150 words that you hear. Is that too much? No, it's simple, it's beautiful. And as I'm explaining that to you, you get that, you remember the image, you get in your brain, and then you listen auditorily from me, and you're combining 2 different receptions of information, and you're making meaningful context out of it. To make this even better, I'm just going to get rid of that. And do you think that's probably a more prettier slide, maybe? It's less cluttered, it's less crowded. It's just that. And you are smart enough to make the connection as we go about it. All right. So back to the rule, less text, more images. I'll give you some examples. In a dog scenario where I'm presenting to you either an image or a word, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. If I say dog, does an image or word come in your mind? Image or word? Hands up for image. Or word? Just a few people. That's fine. We're visual learners, we can't deny that. We see things, we absorb that faster than we actually read through our logical processes in the brain and translate word dog into a meaningful concept. In fact, just saying dog brings up the image of a dog. So, statistics show that images have a 6.5 times longer retention than the actual word. So science tells you that images are superior to words if you want a message to stick in someone's head. Simple as that. If you are able to condense an entire PowerPoint presentation into just images, that's a feat of engineering. Well done. But remember, you have to be there. You have to be there to make the connection, like I am right now. So, anyone want to read that for me?
No.
No, fantastic. I wouldn't want to read that. But this is something that a major corporation, a strategic solutions consulting company in the US, has created for their clients. And it's fantastically cluttered with text and all that. It's just impossible. Imagine me just reading that off that and assuming that you are processing that right now. I am making your job as audience very difficult. How about this?
Nope.
I've tried to use pictures and tables. And I am trying to explain to you right now, IT modernization roadmap. But a 5-year end goal, we're going to accomplish all this. But you see, in historical precedent, 2011 was when we had difficulty. Does IT team do this?
No.
Yeah. How about this?
Not even.
This is a geopolitical simulator analysis of the situation in Afghanistan. All right? So we're talking about military intelligence, we're talking about government intelligence, who has produced this chart assuming that you're intelligent enough to make sense of it.
I know.
Assuming I'm brave enough to stand here and actually decipher that for you. It's not going to work. So make it simple. Left on PowerPoints, what happens? Remember that. Clip art's cliche. Now when I say clip art's cliche, I'm talking about, depends on your audience. If you're presenting to children, that's fine. If you're presenting to board members, you want to avoid that sort of usage of stock clip art, for example. Or even images that are high, bad quality, or images with the watermarks on them. It's not going to impress anyone. Get real photos. Like this. The emerging worldwide water shortage is serious. This is part of a series that's considered one of the very best PowerPoints. Less than 0.0. I don't have to read this, do I? And that's it. That's the moral of the story. If I'm telling a story about water and it's important, that's all I have to do to condense the information for you to understand that we have a water shortage, and then there's a compulsory imperative that we're going to do something about this. If you must use a lot of images, this image has 3 images, and it still looks pretty nice. I'm now making a point. Less of this, right? And more of this. Simple. Break it down for them. Don't make being an audience a difficult task. I don't want to sit here and be burdened by a presenter who's put up slides or words, which is fine if you're in a lecture because you've got to write those stuff down. But if you're presenting an idea, if you're selling something, make it easy for them. Keep it simple, stupid. White man. Rule number 2, remove clutter. Anyone tell me what this is?
Black hole.
Yeah. Let's do PowerPoint. Is it intimidating? It's close.
Point form.
Minimize bullet pointing because human brain can only juggle 4 points. Seriously, bullets don't kill people. Bullet points kill people. Our brains are not that impressive. We can only juggle 4 points at a single time in terms of processing memory. 4 bullet points is the max, to be honest. Any more than that, and it might as well be a lecture where you're copying notes down. But if you're trying to charm them, trying to seduce them into buying a product on the spot, keep it simple. Bullet points kill. So whether it's just changing the way you go about using bullet points, I'm not demonizing bullet points. I'm just demonizing excessive use of bullet points, which you'll find in lectures. Remember, lectures are not meant to impress you. Lectures are not meant to sell you something. They're just meant to convey information in the most logical, mechanical manner. Too many colors is a problem. And fonts. This is generic, obviously obvious stuff. And animation. And way too many words that fill up the screen, making it very hard to read the slide. Then you have that again. Right? Everyone can make a slide. Everyone can make a PowerPoint. But the idea is, can you make it really effective in terms of communicating your message to other people? Remember, PowerPoint is a medium. You are the channel that is communicating to people. This is just an assistance. Ideally, you want to look at me 60% more than that. Here's an example of a slide which, just for you, I'm going to deconstruct, and let's see if we can make it a little better. According to the Ministry of Labor in the 2011 report, 72% of part-time women workers in Japan are women. Then you have a nice little pie chart, and you have a nice little flag telling it's Japan, just to make it a little bit more obvious. Is anyone guilty of doing something like this? Just putting all information on there because you just want to get over it. Let's take that away. Let's take that away. Let's take that away. Let's end up with that. That's the number we want to impress on people. We want to emphasize how big it is. But then again, we want to say, no, we're in Japan, aren't we? So, bam. Something simple, something infographical, something that can make a meaningful meaning out of what you can see. 72% of workers are real. Fantastic.
Ooh, let's see what you're doing there.
We're trying to seduce people.
Nice.
Seduction isn't about getting them to affect you, is it? Seduction is about persuasion. Like a magician who comes up here and wows you with magic tricks. Captures you emotionally and logically. It makes you forget that this is not reality, this is like an illusion. This may be magic. You're a performer, you're a presenter, and you're communicating. So, rule number 3 is a slide. It's an acronym. So you can remember. Story. Tell a story. I told you a story when I came here. I told you about my coffee trip. And that's how you engage people. If you look at great PowerPoint, great presentations, regardless of PowerPoint, they'll tell you the story that you remember. Less, remove the clutter, easy enough to remember. Basically, less is more. Remember. And impress. If you're doing a PowerPoint presentation that's about convincing people to partner with you to buy something off you, you're meant to impress them, not just to offer them a product and hope that that product sells itself. No, you are the salesperson and you are trying to impress. And design, make sure your PowerPoint slides fit your speech. Make sure it's coherent, it's consistent, and make sure you have a harmony with this visual aid. And of course, engage. At the end of the day, if you're on the first date, if you're not engaging with that person, it's not going to work out. Just like in a business partnership. If you don't give them what they want, if you don't stop thinking about what you want, but how you can make their lives easier, how you can benefit their life, how you can improve their standard of living and quality of life, they're not going to want anything to do with you. If all else fails, put a picture of Ryan Gosling and everyone falls in love with you. So I got the guys, I got the ladies. So, rules recap. Less text, more images. Remove clutter, and of course, slides. Now lastly, I'll go back to that. Lastly, every successful presenter, every successful speaker, and you are all one, needs to learn the importance of feedback. So I'm going to ask politely, if I do a little Google questionnaire on Facebook, if you wouldn't mind please filling that out. For my own professional development, if you were to do this, I would recommend the same thing. Whenever you come up here and do a presentation, maybe even the MVPs would like to get into this. The presenters who came up here earlier. Feedback is important because, as some wise person once said, customer feedback is necessary to the growth of the company, the growth of an individual. And I guess I'm surprised I got it through. Any questions? Now, have I engaged with you? Have I seduced you?
Oh, easy, Terrence.
Yeah.
You need to buy me dinner first.
Should we talk about it?
And that's it.